All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Tuesday Group. If you don't know me, my name is Megan Wind. I work with Lacey, and I am her substitute today as she is off traveling across the pond. So today we have Miss Heather Westmoreland. She is a multifaceted entrepreneur and dedicated community advocate with a rich background in finance and passion for empowering individuals and businesses. Heather has established herself as a trusted figure in both the corporate and nonprofit sectors. With over 15 years of experience as a prolific tax accountant, Heather has honed her expertise in financial management and strategic planning, leveraging her extensive knowledge. Sorry, there's so many words. She transitioned into the realm of life coaching and virtual business support, founding her own small business aimed at fostering personal growth and organizational success. And I'll let her continue to introduce herself.
Hello, welcome everybody. Excited to be here today. I love being in Ely. Get up here as much as I can. And just I made a little visual for Thompson for the talk tonight. I've heard that it is a really inspirational talk. So I hope you guys get a chance to get out and check it out. Noby Reed with Wild Spaces and Matt Keller with the Resources Legacy Fund. Okay, so about me, thank you, Megan, for the introduction, and thank you, Thompson, and thanks to Lacey for helping me feel so welcome and giving me all the information that I needed to know for today. So I am currently in the Climate Impact Corps program, which is a program that places people with, thank you, places people with different organizations to help promote climate issues and conservation. So I've been placed with Northeast Minnesotans for Wilderness. And part of what my service project is centered around is helping develop business in Ely. Ely is known for its entrepreneurial spirit, and I'm excited to support the more teeny tiny micro business end of that. So the information that I'm going to be sharing with you today isn't going to be as applicable if you've got 30 employees. It's really for the solopreneur doing business on their own and maybe with an employee or two. So as I said, I love, because I'm most excited about this because I love spending time in Ely. The Ely community has been wonderful to engage with. I love spending time up here, kind of anything outdoors. I love to hunt, cross-country ski, going wheeling. And then about the last 5 years, I've gotten really into mushroom hunting. So if there's any mushroom nerds out there, we need to talk. All right. So I wanted to give you a little sense of who, Megan, where is it working? So a little sense of the kind of clients that I've worked with in the past. So I started not 50 years ago, but 25 years ago, I started out as a solopreneur doing massage therapy and eventually adding in transformation coaching, and somewhere along the way became a tax accountant. So not the most intuitive connection, but I love using all the different kinds of my brain and using all the different kinds of my brain to help people be happy and successful in their lives. So at the tax office, we really ended up centering around creatives and very small businesses. So creatives don't naturally tend to get accounting. So it was really fun breaking the concepts of tax accounting, entity formation, and these bigger concepts, breaking them down and making them really basic and simple and easy for people to utilize and engage. And recently, I've started a business as a virtual assistant. So with that, I met a woman who she's a massage therapist and a coach as well. And she had some projects that she was just not getting done. She wasn't getting her information out there. Her business wasn't growing. And I just started helping her with a few things, and then that snowballed, and she sent me another person. Um, so, and, and so since that's a new business for me, I kind of have used that a little bit as an example today in the information I'm going to share with you, sort of like developed my business plan as I made this information today. So, okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about marketing. And with a solopreneur, the most important thing is really understanding who your customer or client is. And in this talk, I'm just going to call them like your ideal client. And then we're going to talk about advertising, subset of marketing. Just a few, there's so many tools out there now. So we're just going to talk about really one, Canva, and give you some ideas of how you can use this for a business, but you can also use a lot of these tools in other areas of your life. And then I'm going to touch on everybody's favorite topic, entity formation. What's a single member LLC? When you want to get an S corp, you know, and I don't know that this is going to apply to everybody. It's not going to apply to everybody, but I think a lot of us have the same misconceptions in our head, and we're sharing those misconceptions. So this can maybe help clear some things up. And then lastly, we're going to talk about as a solopreneur, it can be really lonely. You don't have all these coworkers when you're running into issues. There's nobody to help you. So it's really important to build a business community around yourself. Okay, and so the goal of today, this is by no means meant to be a comprehensive training for starting your business. It's really just, I just want to give you the structure of things to keep in mind, and then you'll take this information to an expert, take this information, do more research on your own. But this will just help you kind of just get started and get the framework. So the first thing I want to talk to you about is a concept called experience design. So experience design is a kind of design that focuses more on the customer and who they are and what they need than the product or service of your business. So a good example of this would be the Mayo Clinic. So when people around the world think of the Mayo Clinic, they think they've got the experts, but a lot of different hospital organizations have experts, but their patients don't have the same experience. So things that Mayo does is they do a lot of like really specific user experience questions with their clients. They're caring for like every aspect of the experience of the patient. So when they call you to leave an appointment or to remind you of an appointment, if you can't call that number back, they tell you on that message, don't try to call this number back, call where you set your appointment. So just the little details like that are really focusing on like how the patient is going to feel if they try to call back the number and they can't get a hold of anybody, and then they're frustrated and confused. Another example with a Mayo Clinic is if you've had an appointment and you're upset, but you need to schedule another appointment, they'll bring the scheduler into the room with you. So you're not out in the lobby crying or upset and having to do something like that publicly. So those are just a few examples of how a business can focus on the experience of the person that's engaging with them. So I think bigger businesses often, they're focusing on their product and how great their product is and what their product can do for you. And whereas when you're a solopreneur, for a lot of reasons, it's really helpful to key in on who's your ideal client and what do they need and how can you make their specifically their life better. So one thing that was recommended to me that's really helpful is as I was developing my ideal client, I got a picture of them. So whenever I was creating any kind of marketing material, working on my website, doing social media, I would be like in a dialogue with this picture or just like a little figurine. So that can be a really helpful way to, especially when you're kind of getting in your own way and you're feeling stuck or frustrated, like to keep that focus on your ideal client. And so a way that this can be really helpful if you do not have a business is thinking about any event you're hosting, if you're having a house guest, thinking about, so, you know, say you're having a big family reunion, thinking about how do you want people to feel when they come to this? What kind of images do you want to send to them in advance to get them ready to have the kind of experience that you want to encourage? Thinking about all the different needs and ability levels of the people coming and how those things can be accommodated. So the concept of experience design can be really helpful even if you don't have a business, just in making the experience better for the people attending your events, meetings, or even like house guests for you. So these are just a few questions that you can use to get clear in your mind who your ideal client is. So things like, what does your ideal client look like, sound like? What do they value? What do they wake up in the night worrying about? So, and then for me, so as I'm getting ready to like develop and launch my virtual assistant business, I asked myself those questions, and this is what came to me. So when I'm making materials in the future, I'm going to be talking to this woman. So it's women who tend to put themselves last. They're warriors. And why that detail, I don't know. That just came like I want to help people feel like they don't need to worry about stuff. But there's always a resource. There's always somebody that can help them. So that was a feature that popped into my head. So then I wanted to share that as, you know, it doesn't need to be literal, like they live in this area, they're this age. It can be more of like, this is how they are engaging with the world. They're trying to start a business that gives them job satisfaction and a better work-life balance. So maybe they're leaving corporate, they're leaving a structure that's just maybe a little too rigid for the way that they work. Whether that's how their brain works in a way that doesn't really allow for that rigidity, or their lives, and they've got families and they need more flexibility. They value making a difference and spending time with people they love. And what they need most is to feel like they have support, they're appreciated, and they're not alone. Okay, so once you have an idea of your ideal client, what do you do with that? The first goal is to see how does your product or service meet the needs of your ideal client? And then secondly, how can you communicate to them that you have the answers? So for my virtual assisting example, how I can use my services to help them is I can help them get past the blocks that are in their way to help them make their business more successful. So a lot of times, again, as a solopreneur, you get hung up on something. There's nobody that's like, hey, did you get that project done? Or like, when are we going to get that? And there's nobody to, unless you build it in, there's nobody to really help you figure things out. So when you hire a virtual assistant, they can help you get past those blocks. So the second goal with this work, so this is moving a little bit from marketing into advertising. It's really important to come up with 3 to 5 words or phrases and then use those in pretty much everything that you're communicating. So if you're throwing an event, just coming up with a couple words and phrases, and then keep using them every time you send out an email, every time you like leave a message, just keep that on repeat. So that's good because it helps people keep things in the back of their mind, but it also is really helpful for people that have different learning styles to make sure they're really grasping information. So a few examples of the words and phrases that I'll be using over and over with my virtual assistant marketing and advertising is I support your dreams, and then a hashtag with that. What's in your way? So I'll do posts talking about like what is the thing that's blocking a lot of people from being more successful. The focus on what you're doing this for, so that so a little bit, you know, you want to keep a sense of like, is everything you're putting out there kind of negative, or is it kind of balanced with some challenges, but also some inspiring information. So what's in your way is a little bit more focusing on like the blocks and the negative and the challenges, but then focusing on what you're doing this for is more focusing on like uplifting and inspiring and engaging. And then I like shifting things a little bit. We're going to talk about networking later, and shifting out of thinking about networking and thinking more about building your business community. And same thing with testimonials. I like thinking about that more as storytelling. So I want to help my clients that have used my services and are having really good results. I like to talk about telling their story. So not only am I helping people understand more about what I do and helping people, you know, figure out if I'm the right person for them, but they're also feeling solidarity with other people that have needed these services in the past and have had good results. So focusing on storytelling feels, I don't know, less businessy, a little bit more human and engaging than thinking about it another way. So, and then just general information, like when I say VA, everyone thinks of Veterans Affairs. So a little part of my material talking about like, what is a virtual assistant? What would I need that for? What do they do? So again, getting your message down to 3 to 5 words or phrases, and 100% of your communication doesn't need to be these 3 to 5 things, but trying to keep that as what you're putting out there, that consistency. And always keeping your ideal client in mind, and finding ways to stay passionate about what you do, because that at the end of the day, when you're passionate about the party you're throwing, the meeting that you're going to have coming up, when you find a way to make it exciting for you and passionate for you, when you find a way to make what you're doing in your business like exciting and you're passionate about it, that's what people respond to. So people are drawn in and they want to engage with your business when they see the passion in you. So we're drawn to that. Okay, some other things to keep in mind with marketing is I think like the more the internet becomes part of our daily life, the more we tend to like want to research things before we engage with them. So when you're starting your business or developing your business, be sure to think about how when you're going to look for like a lodge where you want to stay, a practitioner that you want to use, what kinds of research do you do, and then how can you get yourself in that? So, you know, how can you get yourself on TripAdvisor, go into your Google settings and change the way things look when they're searching for your business and they see your business, like, you know, and thinking about that experience design. How do you want them to feel when they're doing that research and researching you? You want them to feel excited. You want them to feel curious. And thanks, Megan, for reminding me of that. That's something I spend a lot of time doing, is researching. So, and that's an awesome tool that you can utilize as a small business person. We could spend probably like 10 years talking about SEOs. It's such a big topic. So I'm not going to go a lot into that, but there are some very simple things you can do. So SEOs are basically, it's called search engine optimization. And so basically when someone goes online and they're looking for, you know, the dog walker, how fast does your information come up on that list? So that's what search engine optimization is implanting into your, just for example, like your website, these keywords and phrases so that it makes you more searchable. So that's part of why that consistent messaging is really important. But it's great to think about as a way to build your business, to find ways to make yourself more searchable. So you can get support with setting your website up so that it's very searchable, but you can also kind of regularly go and search for like trending topics in your field. You can write a blog about it, put that blog up on your website, and then somebody that's searching for that specific type of thing is going to be driven to your website. So SEOs are a cool thing to, if that like makes your eyes cross, and there's a lot of people that can help with that. So just know that's out there. And if you're not getting the engagement you want on your business, that's something to look at. So we're going to talk about this a little bit more later, but I think a huge resource that you have in this area is your natural environment. And there's a lot of ways that you can use your environment to make people feel more connected to your business and what you have to offer. So, and whether it's for your business or personal, really kind of keeping that in mind and thinking like, okay, you're going to be welcoming people to this place, or you're welcoming people to your business. How can you utilize your environment to bring them in? Okay, so the resources and experts in marketing. So there are marketing agencies, there are virtual assistants. There's so many YouTube tutorials now. Like if you've got some patience and you've got some deep breathing practices, you can learn pretty much anything. And then there's also coaches out there that specialize in this. Okay, so next we're going to talk about advertising. So this is getting your message out there. And it's so much easier now than ever. I mean, I started doing massage in 1998, and my business advertising was that sheet with the little tabs you cut in it with my phone number on it. So that's where we started. I don't know, lately Canva has been just blowing my mind. So I'm just gonna talk about a couple. There's so many out there. There's so many different ways you can advertise your business. And again, these are great for certain kinds of solopreneurs. These aren't great for every kind of solopreneur. And these wouldn't necessarily be great for a larger business. But these are ones that I've worked with and my clients I've worked with, and they've really enjoyed it. So Squarespace is what I use. So Squarespace is a web service. So my partner is starting a business. And so on Sunday, we sat down, we created a Squarespace login. We used that to get his domain name. And then I just grabbed a website design and I just made him a website, and it took me about 45 minutes. So that's what's possible now with a service like Squarespace. There's also, if you're selling products, Shopify can be maybe a little bit better. Some people have known have really liked Weebly, and then WordPress with Elementor editing software. WordPress is pretty daunting, and Elementor makes it a little bit easier. But it's, again, depending on what you need, there's different things that work. So so it's pretty standard now. I've never really been able to get myself to do this. So I'm impressed when people do, because it requires a lot of like diligence and consistency to create an email list and then do like regular newsletter posts that you send out. And the reason that you would need to utilize a service for this is you can only blind copy so many people on an email that you're sending out. So you need a service to host those emails. And then once you get people's email addresses, it goes into your bank of email addresses, and then you just create a newsletter and send it out. So I've known people that have used MailChimp and Flowdesk, and they've all now switched to MailerLite. So I think the price and the usability of that are really convenient. So I have set up campaigns in MailerLite for people. So and there's neat things you can do where if somebody's on your website, they can click a button to sign up for your newsletters, and then you can set up campaigns. And again, like this took me like 15 minutes to set up a campaign where the person signing up for this newsletter gets an email every day for a couple days. And then they enter into the group of getting just the general newsletter. So it's kind of neat that you can kind of custom make the experience of people engaging with your business in that way. Again, Canva for ad creation is really great. I don't know of any other ones really that do what Canva can do. And that Canva has free options. So this is really great for everybody, whether you have a business or not. You can make I'll talk a little bit more about later, but there's a lot of ways you can use it to design different things, and there's no cost. And then if you want to upgrade for other features, it's only like $120 some a year. And then social media. Social media is a great way to get your business out there. And I know people have a love-hate relationship with social media as well. But I think a good thing to think about is if you don't love social media or engaging in social media, you can think about it as it's just another way that people are going to get reminded of what you do. So there's a certain number of times somebody needs to hear about your business or service before they engage. So probably your business is actually, in a lot of people, their business is really working through word of mouth, but somebody tells you like, oh, go work with this person, they're great, and then it slips out of your mind. But if then you also see them, if you see their posts on social media, or you're getting a newsletter, you're just reminded of that enough. And then when that critical moment comes where they really need you, then you're the first person that is in their mind. So social media, you don't have to worry about if you're getting like, thousands of likes on your social media posts. A lot of times it's really just about keeping you in people's minds. And you can be strategic with how you engage social media this is just one example of a breakdown. So if your ideal client is over 50 years old, Pinterest is something that is going to be, really helpful. But probably not Snapchat or TikTok. So like, depending on what the ideal age is of your or the ages of your ideal client, you may be judicious about what social media you engage. And there are a lot of other metrics that you can look up and see, like who's on these and where should I spend my time. Okay, so just to show you a few examples, this is an example of a website that was made with a template in Squarespace, the web hosting service. And here's another example of what's possible. So they have these templates, and you just go in and make little alterations, and you can make it look pretty fantastic. Okay, and then Canva that I talked about earlier. This is just a few of the things you can do with Canva. So I felt like really overwhelmed by Canva when I first saw it, and I just started using it for silly things and just let it be playful for a while. But then once you kind of learn, there's a little bit of a language to it. Once you kind of learn that language, it can be really easy to make really quality looking things. So yeah, I mean, even from like mugs and t-shirt design to making our itineraries for an event, to photo advertising, it's pretty cool. So these first examples are just a couple of websites that were made exclusively with Canva. So they made the images in Canva and then moved it over to their website. But also these videos were uploaded and edited in Canva as well. So that, again, so much that it can do. And this is another Canva made website. So learning Canva through play. So this is one of the first projects that I did in Canva, because I was house sitting for my sister and they had the wonderful World of Ferns book on their coffee table. And I noticed this little, it looks like an asparagus over on the side. And I remembered that when I was up here in Ely earlier that spring, I saw this little guy. And it's like this fleshy colored little thing. And at a certain point, when you shake it, it would rattle like a rattlesnake. So I was like, what is this? So I went down the rabbit hole, did all this research, and it turns out it's a horsetail fern. And this is what it looks like when it's mature. So they were out of town, and I was like, I bet there's no way they would ever know this little thing is a horsetail fern on their book. So I made this just to have fun. So that's how I started learning Canva, is through playing with it. Okay. So another new cool feature of Canva is image generation. So this is another example of just playing around with these features. A girlfriend of mine had a surgery, and we were joking about smuggling her dog into the hospital. And her idea, I had like normal ideas, like just sticking her in my jacket, but she's like, well, we should dress her up like a nurse. So I got to send this like fun little thing to cheer her up. And then that was my idea. So Canva's cool because it AI generated that image, but I thought it needed a little more. So I found some stickers in Canva to add to make it a little bit funnier. So that's a sense of what you can do for personally. But this is showing a little bit of the business application of Canva. So to me, one of the coolest features of Canva is you can create a brand section where you have the same color. So like your website has certain colors on it. All those colors have a code. You can take those colors and put them in Canva so that when somebody's looking at your website and then they see you see printed materials you make, they see your social media that you made, they're gonna be cued that it's your business because it's those colors. So it's so calming for people's brains for you to be consistent in things like that. So if your colors are always over the place, your fonts are always all over the place, it feels like people are like, wait, is this more than one business? It feels kind of chaotic. So this is just a really cool way to kind of keep people feeling like they know you, they know your business, and feeling that like calm, like you're a consistent force. So really cool thing you can do in Canva is, so I found this template and I thought that design looked neat. So I just started a project with that. And then at the bottom, there's the brand. So I just clicked on brand. I already have my business colors in there. So I click shuffle and I just shuffled until I liked the way it looked. So my colors, I realized doing this project, are very fall. So I had to keep clicking until it didn't look like a Halloween store. So keeping in mind things like that. If you've got reds and greens in your advertising, maybe mix it up a little bit, or people are going to think you're a Christmas store or it's a Christmas post. So yeah, that was it. So I like it. I clicked on it and then I just shuffled through, and it's all my colors. So that's a really, really convenient and saves a lot of time, because otherwise you'd have to click each thing and change the color of each thing. So you can also customize the font so that the font matches your business. And then and then another thing to know is that when you're posting on social media, it promotes your posts a lot more if there's video included. So I don't always love to make videos of myself and talking. So Canva lets you automatically automate your photos. So that's this next slide is this post. That's just a static post. It automated it. And then Canva also has AI music generation. So I just typed in relaxing but exciting music, and then this is what it created. Yeah, so that way you don't have to take the time to make a whole big video, but and then you can save that music. If that's music you think you want to keep using, you can save that and use that in a lot of your videos. So then that's another point of associating your business with the images, sounds, fonts, colors. Okay, so a big thing that they train us on in Climate Impact Core that I really loved is talking about a sense of community and a sense of place. And I think it's like this beautiful full circle. Like the more we're engaged with the land where we are, the more we're connected to it, and the more us and our community are connected and strong and engaged with that environment, the happier people are, the better health you have, the more longevity you have. So, and I've also seen people that have a lot of success with using these things to develop their businesses. So when you're creating these marketing materials, putting pictures of like what you can see out of your window, what you're seeing out of your backyard, what beautiful thing have you seen, you're bringing people in and making them feel like they're a part of this place. And when you're engaging with your community, that also makes people feel like they're part of your business's family. So those are great ways to, by engaging with your environment and engaging with your community and sharing that with your ideal client. That's an awesome way to almost have like a virtual connection with these people. And it inspires them to be more involved, get out and be more involved in nature, and it inspires them to be more engaged with community. And I think more and more as a society, we're able to do so much on our own that we get really isolated, and there's kind of an epidemic of loneliness. So when you're engaging with talking about your connections in your community, you're really demonstrating to people like how important it is. And then they're maybe going to take that chance to reach out and develop their community or come and be a part of yours. All right, so resources for advertising, agencies, virtual assistants, again, YouTube tutorials if you have breathwork practice, coaches, and then you need to be careful and do research, but there are sites like Upwork and Fiverr where you can hire people long-term or a la carte for different jobs. If you need a website, you can go on there and find somebody, and you get what you pay for. But if you need something simple and you need help, you can, and you don't have that help within your community, there are pretty easy ways to hire people to do that. Okay, everybody's favorite, taxes and entity formation. So exciting. I kept this short because I know you guys are going to fall asleep. But, so I think these are the things that I really wish that I knew when I got started. These are the things that I help coach. I had 730 tax clients a year, and most of those were small businesses. So these are the things that I coach them on. And these are the things that I hear the most misinformation about. So we're going to start with myth one. If you have a business, you need to be an LLC. So an LLC is a limited liability company, but that's a choice. That's a designation that an election that you make to put on top of your business. So as soon as somebody gives you money, you're what's considered a sole proprietor. And then if you decide that you want more liability protection, or you want to, I mean, it sort of can be, people can use it if they want to be seen as more professional. So you can do a one-time filing with the Secretary of State in Minnesota. So it doesn't work this way in all states. This is really a nice thing that we have in Minnesota. but you go on the Secretary of State site and you elect to be a domestic limited liability company, and it's a $155 one-time fee. So you're still going to put that income on your, if you're a sole proprietor or a single member LLC, it's all going on your personal tax return. So you're not technically a separate business. It's still the same thing. You're a sole proprietor. You just put an entity of protection around your business. So if somebody tries to sue you, it's a lot more difficult when you've got a single member LLC over your sole proprietorship. But that's a choice that you make. You don't have to create a business. I'm sorry about this one. But so a lot of people think that if you make less than $600, you don't have to claim it on your taxes. I'm very, very sorry to tell you that is not accurate. So technically, I don't work for the IRS, so I'm not enforcing this. You do what you want to do. I'll just tell you what the rules are. But any income that you make, you're supposed to put it on a tax return. The $600 number ends up being something people talk about because, so in my business, sometimes I hire people to help me. And when I pay them more than $600, I'm required to issue them a 1099. So that's just a reporting thing. So that's a form that goes to the person that I worked with, and it goes to the IRS, and it says who I am, who they are, and how much I paid them. So it doesn't have anything to do. So if you work for me and you say you've got 100 clients and they all pay you about $400, none of them are going to issue a 1099, but that doesn't mean you don't have to claim that income. So that's the myth of the $600. Okay, so the third myth is that partnerships are a good idea. So I think people are very rosy sunny about the idea of partnerships. And sometimes they can be really great, but it is a little bit like getting married to somebody. So if you haven't made everything really clear, like this is what is going to happen if I want to leave the company, this is what's going to happen if like a big health issue comes up. This is the expectation that we have for the amount of engagement that each partner needs. So like you've got to really drill in and get really, really specific, because it is very, very expensive. It can be very expensive and litigious, just like a bad divorce, to get out of a partnership. So one thing that I after seeing a lot of these with my clients, a lot of times I recommended that they both start a single member LLC and work and come up with a front-facing, website and point of entry, but that they find a way to keep their businesses separate while they spend some time getting to know each other, getting to see how they work together, getting to see like, what if one person's doing 75% of the work at the end of the day? You don't want to create a 50-50 partnership unless you've figured that out. So partnerships are sometimes a great idea and often not a good idea. Okay, so another thing I hear all the time, this one is really personal to me. I get really mad because I feel like I had so many clients come in and their accountant talked them into creating what's called an S corporation because it's going to save them so much money, right? So the idea of an S corporation is that when you're an employee, half of your Social Security and Medicare is paid for by your employer, and then you pay half. When you're a sole proprietor, when you're your own business, you're paying 100%. So you're paying 15.3% in Social Security and Medicare completely on your own. So an S Corp election is a way of saying, hey, for example, I earn $160,000 per year, but the average wage in my industry is $80,000. So I only want to pay payroll taxes on $80,000, and then I want to exclude everything over $80,000 from payroll tax. So you're essentially saving 15.3%. But what happens? What happens is when you make an S Corp election, you have to argue that the amount that you're saying is wages is something you can argue. So it has to be kind of a standard in your industry. So if you're, you know, if you're a lawyer and you're saying it's standard for me to be making $30,000 a year, and then you're excluding $130,000 in your income from payroll, they're going to come for you. So you have to, you know, so, and in addition to that, if you have an S corp, you have to have payroll. You're subject to federal unemployment tax. You go from being able to do a personal tax return to doing a whole separate tax return. Those range from $500 to $5,000 for that additional tax return. So you're doing, so people that are, so I have these clients come in, they got talked into an S corp election. They're saving maybe $2,000, but all the costs and extra time ends up costing them more than what the benefit they were getting from this S corp election. So other thing to know is over 160,000, you're no longer subject to payroll tax. So it only works in that little section between what you can say is a reasonable wage and that 160,000 mark about there. So yeah, it's kind of complicated. If anyone wants to know more about this, talk to a tax accountant and someone you trust, someone that's not trying to like make all this extra money off of you. Okay. So if you decide that you're ready to make an LLC election, and an LLC can later be turned into a partnership. So keep that in mind. You don't have to start out with a partnership. You can start out with a single member LLC and later on down the road switch it to a partnership. And again, I'm not saying go out and do this. I think if you decide you want to do it, these are great ways to just have a framework for how these things work and be able to talk to your accountant about it. So the first thing you do is go to the Secretary of State site and develop a single member LLC. So before you do that, you're going to want to research the name that you want to use and make sure that that nobody else is using that name in Minnesota and ideally in the country. And you will want to check out, if you're going to have a website, you want to check out and make sure that domain name is available. So you want to do those couple checks before you register with the Secretary of State. One thing you can also do is say, okay, my LLC is going to be Heather Westmoreland LLC, and then I'm going to have a doing business as. So you can add little business names later. You can get this all ball rolling and all this started, and then later do a doing business as. It's really affordable in Minnesota. So yeah, those are the options. And then you're going to need to get essentially what is a social security number for your business. It's called an EIN or a federal ID number. And that's pretty easy and free. And then the reason you're getting an LLC is to provide liability protection. And so you've got to back that up by really keeping your business and your personal bank accounts separate. So once you have the certificate from the Secretary of State and your business's federal ID number, you have to go into the bank with the physical sealed stamp from the Secretary of State. You don't need that for the federal ID number. You will need that for your LLC. So physically bring those into the bank and open a business bank account. And then you're going to want to be careful to always move things. Keep your business expenses coming out of your business account. You can transfer money between, but you want to keep that going like that. Okay, and business, you have liability protection, but you may also need business insurance. So talk to an insurance broker about what level of protection that you're going to want in addition to that. And then save your receipts. QuickBooks Online is really, I've seen a lot of different services for bookkeeping, but QuickBooks Online really seems to be the one that people are using, and it works pretty well. Okay. So again, here's just a list of some resources that I've mentioned most of these already. The one thing to keep in mind is not all practitioners in this industry are, or any really, are ethical or highly skilled. So make sure you do your research. Okay, and so I want to talk a little bit about, I think I've mentioned a few features of this, but I found that really the people that are successful as a solopreneurs, the people that are the most happy, have done a good job of creating a business community. So, I mean, for example, one woman in my business community, she referred my first virtual assistant client to me. And I was like, I don't think that I mean, I don't know every single kind of software. I don't know everything. So I don't know if I can do this. And she's like, well, like if you have any questions, like reach out to me and we'll figure it out. And now, 3 clients later, I haven't had to ask her for any help. So like she just like even knowing that she was there, like helped me get the confidence to start doing it. And also, speaking of the loneliness, like I think there's a lot of features of being in a company. There's the morale of working with other people. There's like the recognition. There's like some joy you really get from being recognized in front of the group for your accomplishments or what you've done. When you're a solopreneur, like, oh, you just did something awesome, like crickets, like nobody's there. So having a business community and like building in some of these things to help you feel like, wow, I have a sense of accomplishment. And so before I developed my business community, I was kind of using like my time up here. I would like give myself badges the first time I caught a fish and cleaned it and cooked it. I was like, Northwoods badge, Northwoods fishing badge. Or the first day I got the limit on grouse up here. Got the limit, like I get another badge. So I think there's ways that you can kind of feed that need for like a sense of celebration or personal accomplishment in your life. But it's really cool to create a group that like they're seeing what you're doing and you can celebrate their wins and they can celebrate your wins. And then there's the traditional aspect of networking, which is the more that people understand your business, the more likely they are to, in that moment when they meet your ideal client, to remember like, oh, I need to tell them about Heather. She's a VA and she loves working with women that are in exactly this situation. So I'm going to recommend them, so being in this business community, really, it's cool to get to, like we love sharing resources. So I get to tell people about all of the people in my community and they get to do that for me. So it can be fun. I think people have a little bit of an association sometimes with networking, that it's stressful. I mean, it's depending on the way your brain functions, your level of social engagement. Networking can be really intimidating and difficult for people. So I think, moving out of calling it, maybe even just don't call it networking, call it building your business community and do it your own way and do it with the people that you want to do with. Okay, so the first goal with developing your business community is utilizing all the resources already available. So your chamber, Boundary Waters Connect, Facebook groups, create your own Facebook group. And then be brave. If social activities can be stressful for you, consider sharing with people what would help you feel more comfortable. So would it be better if you guys met at your house? Would it be better if you met at a certain coffee shop you like? Would it be better if it was a walk that you took together and talked about things? Like really, it doesn't have to be any one way. So finding ways to really to make that be something that you look forward to. But yeah, the be brave, there's a lot inside of that be brave because I mean, especially in Minnesota, like we don't want to bother anybody. We don't want to, we don't want to make anybody uncomfortable. We don't want to be a pain, but like, I mean, I want the people that I'm working with to feel good about what we're doing and to feel like they belong. And I want them to feel invited. So maybe even if you know somebody They would be great for your networking group, but they haven't engaged. There may be, for whatever reason, maybe say like, hey, what could we do to make this feel like something that you really wanted to be a part of? Okay. Let's see. So your resources and experts for connecting are all of you. And then a few of those places that I already recommended. So things to keep in mind when you're starting your business is stay passionate about what you do. When you get avoidant or insecure, remember your ideal client and how you make their life better. So it depends on how you're motivated, but for me, that when I'm feeling avoidant or I'm just like, gosh, who am I to say? There's books written about all of this stuff. Who am I to make this presentation? I just think like I think about like few people in here that are starting businesses and how much I want for you and how much I want you to be successful and have the lives that you want. So that helps me push past. Like, so who cares about whatever stories that I'm telling about myself in my head or whatever weird mood I'm in that day that I just don't want to do the work. Thinking about who I'm helping really makes everything worth it. And again, remembering people respond to a sense of place and a sense of community or belonging. So the more successful everyone in Ely is, the more successful Ely is. So the more money you're making, the more you're spending, the more you're inspiring, the more. So that's what's really cool is the way you can all lift each other up. It really, you're helping everybody. And then I think there's something really important about giving back that closes the loop of your business. So I think sometimes it can feel a little showy, like, oh, look at what I'm doing. But it really, if you come at it with a heart of like, that's part of why you want to be successful is so that you can do awesome things with your money. And what great thing to do with your money to support your community, to support this environment. And when you think about your ideal client, you can think about what things they're passionate about and that they would like money to go to. And so then when they see you volunteering or giving money to these things, they're even more inspired to engage. Okay, that's all I have. Questions? I'll do my best to answer or send you to a resource that I know about. Yeah.
On the LLC, when you form an LLC, can you put more than one like branch of your business under one LLC? Can you do more than one thing?
Yeah. Oh, yep. So the question is, if you have a couple different businesses, can you put them under the same LLC? And I'll tell you that that's definitely a conversation you'll want to have with your tax accountant. I think people always have a little bit of different sense of that. So for us, how we approach that is if they're like enough, you know, so like you have a coaching business for like life coaching, and then you have a health coaching business, like close enough, you're a coach. Like, so if they're different enough, like the one reason you would not want to do that is if one leg gets sued, you don't have to shut down both of your businesses. You know what I mean? So if one's a little riskier, somebody could get, you know, they're just in the course of doing business, somebody could get physically injured. You might want to keep that separate for that reason. But so, yeah, with taxes, it's all be nice if it was a straight answer, but yeah. Does that answer your question? Okay. Cool.
Heather, I'm
Yeah.
perplexed.
Yeah.
You described a virtual assistant.
Yeah.
Business. Is that what you were describing throughout in your solo entrepreneur advisory business?
When I
or
was-
do you have a completely different business? I think a virtual assistant of Ruby and all the heavily advertised. So
Oh,
I'm curious about your choice of service name. How you
Yeah.
came to,
it's sort of just a industry term, I think, that when somebody is assisting you from like remotely,
Yeah.
they're and with like your technology in your business, it's considered a virtual assistant. But that's really good to know, because probably in my in my marketing,
'Cause think
I
about
won't call it
your
that.
Search.
Right, yeah, because now there's all the AI virtual assistants and all that too. Yep, okay, yep. Yeah.
That's free.
Thank you. Oh my gosh. Well, I owe you a ton of money. Wow, that's a gift. Thank you. So what do you think? Online assistant? Oh, wait, no, now I have to pay you.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All right, anybody else? Yeah. Mhm.
You know,
Mhm.
like I own a small motel,
Okay.
very few employees. I actually went to a conference this week and I laughed because everybody's like, oh, the Grandioli Lodge is one of my customers. And I'm like, well, like, let's bring your expectations down. Like, actually, it's not the Grandioli Lodge. A lot of people were able to like make that shift, but definitely on the Grandioli Lodge, I have very little in common with ladies running.
Yep.
And you know, how do you find that community
Yep.
of entrepreneurs in the smaller community? Like, how does that look? I'm just,
Yeah.
you know, and I felt like nothing a lot of experience in a smaller community. How you find it? I came out of Sioux Falls, and I had, you know, like, I worked for a nonprofit, and I had like 4 different nonprofit organizations that I out with and talked to, you know, throughout our lives. It was different. It's how you scale that down.
So yeah, the question is, like, how do you really do effective community building in your business when there's such a difference in scale? So if you're running a solopreneur business, you know, networking isn't going to be really effective with somebody that's got like a big corporation. So I think Boundary Waters Connect is a really awesome way to do that. Lacey's really passionate about all, you know, all the business development, and where there's so after this talk, there's a dinner coming up. I really should have had that date for that that dinner. That sounds right, the 25th. Okay. So coming to that, and then right around then, what we're going to do is create little training modules based on what the needs of people in the community are. So do you want me to talk about S Corps for like 2 hours? I will do that, whatever you need. Or, okay. Ooh, let's talk. Or like we can talk about, yeah. We can talk about use tax, or we can talk about other things. But so at those, I think like at events like that, you could get to know other people that are working at the scale that you're working at. And I think also looking at like Facebook groups that are for solopreneurs in northern Minnesota, looking for, you know, different online. It's a little bit better, I think, to kind of have that personal in-person connection. But now it's so easy to connect from a broad region. So yeah, thanks for the question. Hey. Bill Cox. Is Bill Cox here?
I threw a name out there, but we have a Facebook called.
Oh yeah. Okay. Oh, neat.
Point out that Bill had almost 400 comments.
Wow.
And if
Okay.
nothing else, go to Facebook.
Yes.
And then
What's up, Ely on Facebook? Awesome. Oh yeah, that's funny. I actually saw that. So that's a great idea. Oh yeah. Yeah. So, posting your business plan on a site like on a group like What's Up Ely is a great way to get people, like, they'll tell you, a lot of people thought that was a bad idea. And a couple of people thought it was a really fun, good idea. So you really get to see, like, how is the community gonna react to your business plan? So yeah, it's fun. All right, thanks everybody.